All right, these are my Direwares currently. This is a solo. Got this one from Tyler Everyday EDC. This one did come in with a little bit of damage already on it, and we knew there was some issues. Got a bro price on it, and I'd made and modified the hell out of this one, so this is nowhere near where a stock one would be at this point. Not a huge fan of the carbon fiber. Never have been in the past. Got this sucker, and it kind of changed my mind a little bit. So action on this one is pretty damn good at this point. Edge is kind of more what I'm looking for in an edge now. Kind of a medium grind in there. Tyler would say it's super thick, way too thick for him. But for me, this is kind of a medium edge. I did modify it for that finger control to get up there and choke up, make it a little better for that. And also the stop pen thumb stud kind of modification that I did to it as well. Also deburred the pocket clip a pretty good bit. You can see how it's kind of like light on the edges now. It was super sharp when I got it. Several little things I've done to this one. This is a cool little solo I have. Thought about getting a full tie version in the future, and I still might, but as of right now, that's the solo. And then I got this S90, which is full tie. This is the reason I like a full tie. This is the Hawkbill, obviously. Unique flipper. What was this one, man? I think they're both in M390, but I'm not sure. Does this say M390? I can't see without my glasses on. I think it is M390. This little sucker actually was a lot of fun. Like the action on this one is super snappy. It's definitely a short little chody guy, and it's not necessarily the best ergonomics, but it kind of does work. It just, something about that knife just kind of fits, works. Short little guy. I did find that this knife is pretty good with utility. Like, you know, stab it into something and dragging across it. It actually works pretty good. Definitely not what I would call a practical, you know, but you buying a Hawkbill, you kind of know already before you get into it that you're not really buying the most practical thing in the world. And I've handled quite a few of Steve's Direwares. I always like the Direwares. I always like the style of the Direwares, craftsmanship, like the precision of these, and the personal kind of nuances he does to them. And like, it's a good blend of both for me. Definitely leans more to the precision side than it does to the hand element or how you want to look at like artistic point of view or whatever. But both of these really cool and nice. Obviously, I have more of me in this one than I do of this one, but dig them both. Probably add more Direwares in the future, but that's what I got for now. All right, continuing with the collection. This is the DSKs. So I guess I'll go from the one I've had the longest up to the newest sort of thing. So believe it or not, this is not my first kickstand, but this one was one of the ones that I saw another YouTuber's channel, Dirt Warning. Since I saw it, I knew I pretty much wanted it at that point. You know, pulled the trigger and got it. It did have the different clip, which is on this one. I'll show you in a minute. Other than that, pretty much no other modifications been made to it. Just used. This one, it's just me in a knife. It's just a badass Tanto. It's a little bit on the long side sometimes, like the blade length wise. To be accurate at the tip to doing certain things, it can be a little long, but other than that, like, that's pretty much, I mean, it's a big knife. You knew you buying a big knife when you bought a big knife, but that's pretty much the only complaint I've ever had about this one. Everything else I've wanted to do with it is done. Obviously on bearings, all these DSKs are on bearings. I think I've said in the past that I thought that was a Foster bronze, but I'm an idiot. They're all on bearings. So DSK is one of those makers that to me have that mixture of precision and hand element. So you can see all the edges are all done by hand. It's got a hand element to it. I don't know if you can see all those edges or not, but it's just a cool blend to me. I'll like the Direwares somewhat on the more precision side. These are somewhere in between, and then when we get to Crusader, you'll see even more of what I would call the hand element or artistic element. Same with that heater that I reviewed from Steve. It's kind of the same way. All these kind of knives are all kind of that same way. Up next is another anniversary knife that was between myself and my wife. This is my wife's knife. This is hers. GF1 or GF2 rather. And this one does have the, well, Medford would call it is what, what does he call his? I don't know. It's oxidized blade, whatever you call it. I can't remember what he calls this. Vulcan, that's what it is. He calls it his Vulcan. And this clip was originally on that kickstand, and we just swapped them. I had made a kickstand clip at one point, but I like the stock one better after a while. But anyway, the bougie clip kind of matches this a little bit better, so I threw it on this one. This is definitely a looker for sure. This one does not get carried much, not by me anyhow, because I don't want to scratch it up and beat it up. This is definitely one of the wife's favorite knives as far as the appearance goes. She had a Praetorian T years ago that was in this kind of finish, and I sold it off, and we got need money, and she kind of always regretted not having that knife. So when I had the opportunity to get this one, I snatched it up. This cool ass knife, the GF1. And once again, you got the hand elements. If you look at around the titanium frame, you can kind of see the hand chamfering around the frame. So you always get that hand element with DSKs, even though some of it looks precision, some of it's definitely handmade. So it's definitely a cool, unique blend of those, and all these, but you know, some more than others. All right, these I actually ordered. This one I ordered, and then I got this one before that one because it just popped up. This is the GF1. This is the extra thick, so this is 1/4 inch versus the others are 3/16, except for the VXC, which I'll show you in a second. But when I ordered the thick one, he told me he can only do G10. I wasn't really like thrilled about just having G10 on that side, but I was like, you know what, I'm just going to try it and see what happens. But you can see this got way more of the hand element, way more personal style on the G10 there than some of the other titanium ones. So like it kind of sort of blends it. It's kind of like that Crusader I'll show you in a minute here. You get that hand element that you can't really duplicate for something like this. So like even if it was tie done like this, I'd probably like it better. But in general, not a fan of the holes, not a fan of the G10, but it works really well on this one. Didn't know what he was going to do two-tone wise, but he ended up two-toning it, which I think looks great. This one does have his little skull logo lasered in this one, and that does like a little bit of traction right there. And then the kind of a flamey blue. This is all like his preference. I told him to build it like he wanted it, just a GF1. And I just wanted to see what experience a GF1. If I was speccing one out, I would definitely not have specced it out the same way I did, but I really like this knife. This one does not get carried much at all. I don't know what, you know, some knives agree with you, some knives don't. This one doesn't not agree with me. It's just not, it doesn't get carried much. It's a badass knife, don't get me wrong. I love the shit out of it, but it's just not one that I generally pick up and go with. It's so big and robust, but so pretty at the same time. It's almost like contradicting itself. Like you want to use it because it's big and robust, but you don't want to use it because it's kind of sort of already, it's almost, I hate to say it, but it's nice. I ain't got over that whole niceness yet in order to just thrash it. I got so many other knives I'd rather just thrash than this one. So that's the reason I don't carry that one as much. The VXC, on the other hand, is definitely one I don't mind beating the hell out of. This is the same kind of way. 1/4 inch blade, G10. Got the more of a hand element in this one. A little bit different pattern than the other one does. Hand chamfering around the edges. This one also has his skull lasered right there. And it's more traction on this one than it is the other one for some reason. And obviously that blade, super robust, super thick. Just a cool knife. And this one does get used a lot. I don't mind beating this one up. For some reason, this one sort of begs for it, where that GF1 kind of wants to be left in the safe more. I don't know why I carry this one a hell of a lot more. And I'm rounding the whole thing up. That's my GF1, or GF2 rather. And this one is, or came to be rather, with a blue anno on this scales. And I just gently glass bleeded it off. That's basically all I did. And so you can see a lot of texture left in the bottom. And I did a video on this to kind of show that. But just a really cool knife. So the only ones I've got directly from Dan were that GF1 and that VXC. All the other ones you see here are all secondary from other people, but this one is not flipper. This is flipperless, so it lets you choke up pretty good bit, get up on that poon a little bit if you wanted to get up in there. Plenty of knife in the back. No reason to choke up if you didn't want to. Cool little knife. Dig it. Dan does some really cool tall tantos. I like that tantos a lot. This has been a cool knife. I ain't had it a whole long time, but when I have had it, I do like it. All right, it rounds out the DSKs. Up next, the Skike knives. Both of these are the Rogue Shark 2.5s, and they're both identical grounds. The pattern's pretty close to the same thing on the scales, but you know, Pete does a lot of different grounds. There's been a 1.0, which he didn't do that many of, the 2.0, and then these 2.5s. And according to Pete, he likes the 2.5s for the progression of, you know, the build, more or less. These are his favorites when I talked to him last. I know that he knew I had this one. I don't know if he knew I had this one or not, but this one I got from my buddy Sean, and this one I got off Facebook. Super hard to find the V ground with the V edge too. You find the chisel edge more than anything else that I found anyhow. I do dig both of these, but they're so similar, I'll probably will end up modding this one, keep this one like as is. But overall, like I bought one original. I don't know if mine was a 1 or a 2, to be honest with you, but I bought one of the first ones that he released to the public, which I'm guessing is a 1. Mine was on phosphor bronze, actually. Both these are on bearings. I don't think these are even offered in phosphor bronze. But I've met Pete at Blade Show, ended up buying another one there. My buddy Sean had that one for a while. Pete was kind of sort of a internet buddy, I guess, if you will. Always kind of like to have that knife, and when it come down to like selling all my knives off, these are the, I had that one the longest besides the Sawtooth. Like I kept it the longest I could until I had to sell something to make some money, and that I had to sell that, which sucked. But I finally was able to reacquire. Both these come in lately, actually. I want to say I've had them like maybe three or 4 months, maybe something like that. And this one pretty recently. Got this black one. This is definitely more my style than this one. This flame stuff is not really mine. Jokingly, my wife said that she liked this one, so I act like I've given it to her, but she really doesn't care. So I probably will mod this one more to my flavor, which would be future project coming up 23, I'm sure. But these are both my Rogue Shark 2.5s. All right, here's Crusaders. Both are Fear for Praise. Both are slightly different from each other, but at the same time the same. They're basically the same model. You can look there, see pretty close to the same thing. Obviously, this one has a flipper with a hole, and that one is a thumb stud, and it is only a single stud right of yet. This one's G10. This is full tie. Both of them are ceramic coated lock sides. Different pocket clips, obviously. This one has been reground by my buddy Mike, which is Cuddy Cuts on Instagram. If you're interested in smaller fixed blades or fixed blades in general, Mike's getting in he's doing a phenomenal job. This one here is a phenomenal regrind. Like, he did excellent with this one, and couldn't be happier with it. Honestly, he did a great job with it. This one definitely has more robustness to it. Definitely has more of a sound and feel to it. That's more what you'd expect out of Crusader, I guess. Just a beast of a knife, yet still very, very usable. The blend of the whole hand element versus precision inside these, like the DSK and that sort of thing. Same with this one. This has a much fancier style Cerakote, or, you know, whatever they did to finish that blade, airbrush, whatever it might be. This is G10. Once again, the hand element on that scale. Cerakoted the backside, lock side there with a little more simple clip. This one definitely has a different feel than the other one, and the sound. It just sounds a little different, feels a little different. Definitely a lighter weight knife. Both are really cool knives. Dig them both. I thought when I got this one, I'd probably end up getting rid of it, but they're different enough that I like both of them enough that I think I'm going to keep both of them. Now, whether this one gets a regrind or not, that's a different story. Maybe a possible regrind, but they're just such a, how do I put it? It's just like so much hand artistic ability that goes into making a Crusader that you almost don't want to mess with it, man. I mean, I can make scales, I could get them reground. It's just, they're cool knives, just unique knives and cool to have in the collection, and they're not being made anymore. So Crusaders, that's what I got right now. All right, these are my old Dominion Chupacabras. This is the only model I have from him, and this one has been modified a pretty good bit, actually. So I showed you that cold steel, what do you call it, Formax, American made Formax, and these are the studs after Formax, because this only had a single stud, and to me that's a crying shame for a knife like this. Both these are on bearings, super easy to flick out, so it begged for twin studs for me. This one I got at Blade Show. This one I acquired afterwards. This one looked completely different. It was kind of more of a gold anno on this, and it had this still has the, I don't know if it's Damascus or Mokotai or whatever. It has some kind of coloring, pivot collar and clip, and you can still kind of see on the clip a little bit. You see how it's got that camouflage pattern where you can see if you lit it up with a flame, it would come to life. But it's just not my style, so made it more my style by blasting it all, which you may or may not agree with, but I don't really care because it's my knife. This one's a Nitro V. This one was over at Eonis for a long time. He really fell in love with it and really liked it. It's his size. This is more my size. This one has the Zerk studs, collars, and clip on it. I've heard good and bad things about Zerk. To me, I haven't had really an opinion one way or the other. It's not really a material I'm drawn to. Like, I do like the darkness, but I'm not like drawn to Zerk because it's Zerk. It's just one of those things. This one's in Magna Cut. And I didn't really know of Casey before I met him at Blade Show. He was actually had a dude he was apprenticing or training or whatever you want to call it at Blade Show. And I can't remember the dude's name, but that's how I originally found him, was because I was talking to the dude about his knife, and then right next to him, where they're basically sharing the same booth, was Casey's knife. So I can't say that he was on my radar before then. I think I had seen Alex's from the Watch Cut channel. I think I'd seen his Chupacabra, but that's pretty much my only experience with it. I hadn't had it in hand, but I went to Blade Show. There wasn't a whole lot of bruisers there. Like, I was really kind of shocked at like the lack of, like, I know it's not the most popular knife style, but I was really shocked that more people didn't at least make a bruiser. But this is what I got from there. This is definitely more my style. You can see it's definitely a slicker knife. Grind's a little weird on it because it's like it just gets super thick in the tip. You see how thick it gets right there, and that secondary bevel is pretty much what's making the tip. So it's super robust behind that tip. Both of them are pretty much ground the same way. Very unique way of grinding a knife. These also have precision and art mixed, and there's a lot of little Easter eggs in these when you get them and start looking at them. Some of the backspacer work and how it blends in. It's just a cool. You could tell the dude just has that artistic eye for something like that. Has the passion for the knife. But proud to have both those Chupacabras. Don't know if there's anything else that Old Dominion makes at the time that I'm super have to go after, but I'm glad I got these two. I don't see them going anywhere. I might put a different stud on that eventually or do something different with it, but as of right now, pretty much leave them as is. That's my Old Dominions. All right, these are my Zermeno Tyrs, however you say it. This one I got from USA Made Blade. This one I got directly from him. This is the deep carry clip version. I thought I was gonna like it. I thought it was gonna be the same frame as this. It ended up being completely different frames. As you can see, the clips are different. I wasn't super fond of this clip. Actually, blade different. This is still chucked on my KME, but you can see that the blade has a swedge here. This one doesn't. So the angle is way different up here. Still working edge there, obviously. And obviously the clips are the main difference there. But anyway, got this one first. Like the overall quality of the knife, didn't like the clip, and obviously have to put an edge on it. So I had to order this one. Got this one in, and this one does have an issue that has to go back to the maker. It's got like a little bit of a detent rock at the closed position. Other than that, this one seems to be definitely more my style as of like off the shelf. Good. Will this one need an edge? This definitely will need an edge too before I put it into work. I guess overall, I was kind of shocked when I got Steve's. Like it really shocked me how much I liked that knife. His was in Damascus, but I liked it so much I went ahead and got two of them. And gut feeling right now, just gut feeling is once this one gets fixed, I'll probably end up just moving it. I'll probably keep this one, just make a new clip for it. Just a gut feeling. But I do really like this one too. So I may end up keeping this one, get it reground or do something different finish wise with it. Neither one of these blue or golds are really my flavor. But still, like, for, I'm gonna call it a budget, because at a little over 400 bucks, you're getting a hell of a lot of material here to work with. For bruiser style knives, you don't really find them in this price category brand new from a maker. And from my knowledge, Will makes every part of this himself. I know when he was talking about making a different style of clip like this, they were at the water jet, and he was gonna get them and then try to make one up. He wasn't really fond of this style clip either, so he's gonna do something different himself. But I'll let you know how the experience goes with the customer services as far as sending that back and seeing what he can do with that one. But that's my two Zermenos for right now.